Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video, and as you can see, I only have a 3x8 here, but I have 3 photos. I need to do a photo flip on this one, and you know what, actually I think I have quite a few that are in the album already that are on the top, so I think I actually need to do this one in the bottom pocket, so they will be here, but then I need an artsy card, and I actually made some a couple weeks ago. What I did was I cheated a little bit. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I had to make my own. I just went out and I was like, give me some quotes from Renoir, Cezanne, Van Gogh, Monet, Manet, Pissarro, anybody that I could find that were the Impressionists, because I knew that I had Impressionist photos I needed to scrap. And I just picked quotes from them, put them on a background in Project Life, and just kind of called it good. So I know I have some of those, but I don't remember like which ones I did and what colors. So I'm just hoping I have something that matches with these. But I'm going to pull out my museum bin of stuff because I believe, if I was thinking clearly, I threw them in there. So I can start with those. I went and got stuff out of the bin, and I also pulled a few other things. I have this. I just bought this when I was in Chicago at Paper and Pencil. They had some little patches in there like this, and this was one of them. So I thought, well, I do enough art stuff that would be appropriate. But looking at this now, like those colors are not good. They don't really match. So that's probably not going to get used. I also pulled out this chunk of gold foiled doily I have. This would match quite well, actually, depending on what card I pick. So I'm going to keep that in case I need it. And then let me grab out, here's my little bag I have going here. I hardly have any 4x6s. I think I've used, hey, look at this. I had more than one of these. As you can see, these are not from the same one. I forgot that I kept a chunk of that other one too. Well, great. Then I have 2 options depending on how they might sit on the card. But I only have one 4x6 left, and that does not work. For what I want here, I need a 3x4. So you can see here I did some different things. There's a Renoir, a Van Gogh, Pissarro. This probably does not match well. These are great though. I have blue and green in both of those. Another Renoir. Didn't I have a yellow one? I really should have done a yellow one because Van Gogh uses a lot of yellow. Oh, Sicily, I forgot about that one. There's a Cezanne. I particularly chose this because this is kind of his color scheme in a lot of his paintings, especially the orange. When I think of Cezanne, I think of orange. He uses it a lot. So I have those. I don't think any of these other ones like are specific to the Impressionists. No, that's more medieval almost. No. So I could make one if one of these didn't work. I really thought I did a yellow one. Did I make it and use it already? Maybe I did. I do art stuff on pretty much every trip I take, so it's very possible that I did a yellow one and used it for something else. But I'll have to keep that in mind because I could quickly make one if I wanted to. We'll see what I find here. For these 3 photos, when I look at the cards that I have, I really like these 2 the best. There's definitely green happening in all of these, and so I could certainly use the one that's attributed to Van Gogh, so that's an option. This one I like because it's got different shades of blue, and there's also a little bit of green in there too. Like when you look at this, I feel like those go together. So I have a feeling it might end up being this Renoir. And I love the fact that the quote says, art is about emotion. If art needs to be explained, it is no longer art. I love the fact that it mentions that there must be an emotional connection, because that's very much, I think, what attracts me to the Impressionists is like sometimes I may not get the immediate message, if there is one that I'm supposed to get, but I have literally walked into a room of Monets before, looked at them and started to cry. Like it does something emotional to me. So I definitely like that. So you know what? Let's just say we're going to do it. I love you, Van Gogh, but I'll use you on something else. But I think it's going to be Renoir here. So that'll be my top pocket. These will be at the bottom. And then I just need to find some phrases. Oh, and I got to decide, am I going to use this? I kind of like it because of the frames. Look at them. They're all gold and beautifully gilded and all that stuff. Could I put a little chunk of this somehow? I could cut this piece out. I don't know that I want it like that serious, that big at the top, but I like this stuff and the border piece. And I don't want to use the whole thing. So how could I creatively cut that? Could I kind of cut like this here and then just use that curve either at top and bottom? Maybe that might be a way to go. I decided to do pretty much what I showed before. I just held it up here and tried to get kind of a nice part of the curve that I liked. I did leave some hanging off the sides because I know I'll have to cut and adjust it, and that's fine. This is the chunk of that smaller one that I'm left with. So I could still like cut off here and use another curve. I still have this piece here that I could cut out if I wanted to. It leaves me some options with it. And you know, I got this from a citrus twist order I did, I believe. And they always throw free stuff in there. I think I must have gotten these several times as free gift items because I don't remember them saying like that they're sold on there separately. Maybe they are. Maybe I need to go in and look. But I like having them. It's been a nice option where I've been able to cut them up and use the pieces. And the more use I can get out of it, the better. All right, so I've decided I'm going to use part of this and I'm going to place it more at the top. Had I known this ahead of time, I would have moved the text down a little bit more. Now that it's already printed, I can't do that. I'd have to go back into the Project Life app and redo it, and I'm not going to do that. But I think I'm going to use this at the top, simply because I thought about it at the bottom, which I like, but then it'll be right up next to this. If I put this at the top, those are further away from each other, which I like that. So it's very sticky. I've already put adhesive on it. How do I do this to make sure I get it placed correctly and then I don't have to pull it up, hopefully? I kind of just want like enough of that showing and then this kind of right to the top there. So if I cut those off, that's how it's gonna look. I think that's okay, actually. I'm gonna press it down the rest of the way. I think that's all right. Let's cut off the ends and see. If I did this and actually hated it, I could reprint. You know, like it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I just really don't want to. So I'm hoping that it looks okay. You know what? I cut a little unevenly here. Can I get those? Can I lift up the edges and just cut a little bit? Maybe. I'm gonna try it and then I'll be back. All right, there's what it looks like once I have cut it. I like that better. It's still not perfectly even, but it's better than it was. This one, I'm afraid to cut any more off, like lift it up too many times. I feel like it's gonna break off. So I'm gonna have to leave it. But I could do some gold splattering down here just to bring in the gold a little more, so I may do that. But the other thing I have to do is I have to make a flip. I had a bunch that I had pre-made ready to go for this album, and I've used them all. I thought I still had some left, but clearly I've used quite a bunch because they're all gone. I have decided I am going to do some gold splattering on here, so I am using my Nuvo Sparkle Spray. And does it have a special name or is it just gold? Sparkling Mimosa. Ooh, how fancy. I've done the ink splattering here, and one thing I kind of forgot about is this is gold, but it's a little bit darker than what this is. I do have one that's a little bit more yellow. I think it's actually called Sunflower, maybe. And sometimes I use that depending on what the gold actually looks like, because there are different sort of tones of gold. But this one I've already done, so it's going to stay on there. I'm not going to redo anything, so now I just have to let it sit while it dries. I have made the photo flip here, and I need to figure out a tab to indicate that it needs to be lifted up, and I'm not sure what I should do. I'm thinking yellow, but when you look at this, like you're not really seeing yellow other than like the gold tone, but there's yellow underneath. Then I'm wondering, like, should I go green? because it might bring out the green that's in there. There is green in the water and stuff. So I think I'm just going to pull out my labels. Let me grab them. This is where I just keep all the ones that are fully formed labels. And then I also always keep a little baggie on my desk of partially used ones, things that I've cut up for other projects, and then I have pieces left. So I always like to use these first if I can, because it means I don't have to cut into something else. But I mean, clearly I have a lot of these, and the majority of these are from digital files. I can easily reprint those if I use them all. That's the beauty of having them as digital files, because then I have all these colors and I can print and cut as many times as I want. I picked out 2 greens as possibilities for my tabs here. I just see I got sparkle on me somehow. Just like when you use glitter, you find it everywhere for a long time. I've got sparkle ink on me. That's okay. Back to my tabs. I have these 2, and I really liked this one at first because of the green that's in the background here. It's this lime green, but I feel like it kind of clashes with what's up here, whereas that feels better. And I mean, I have this color too, pretty much, like it's fine, I think, if I used it. So I will probably go with this one, and I'll just save this one for something else. I have my tab attached here, as you can see, and I can do my top photo because since this card is so busy, I'm not going to add anything to this. It doesn't need a phrase label. It doesn't need anything. So normally I might add something, but it really depends on, you know, what's in that other pocket. And for this one, I have enough. It's busy enough. All right, there we go. So now that is attached, and I can figure out my inside here and get something on that. Good thing it's gonna be covered up. So when I lift this, do I like that? Yeah, I kind of like this on the bottom because the eye's gonna look here first and then up there. I like that at the bottom. But then I need something on it, I think. So like maybe down here where it wouldn't interrupt too much of what's in the painting. So what do I want? I could do black and white. I could do white with maybe blue font or something. I'll have to pull out my phrases and see. Okay, so I added the picture here, or the photo here. That's done. For here, I pulled out a bunch of my museum phrases. Look at how many I have. I have a ton. I actually found this one in there. Clearly it's for like a natural history museum, but it works here. And I think if I put it there, it overlaps enough of the gold where the green doesn't get lost in there. So I'm going to do that. All right, I finished putting the photo flip together. I did not put this in the pocket because these are not completely dry. I pressed this piece of paper on it just to see, and nope, not dry yet. So I can't do that in the pocket, but I can show you this. So here it is, put together. I think that was the right choice. I really like it. And somewhat simple, but several steps with having to do the doily and the ink splattering and the flip and all that. But I like the way that it looks, and I'm happy with it. So here's another one done for San Francisco. Thanks for watching.